Here's a game with Michizak, legendary rush player, and he goes for a very interesting first ban. He actually first bans Old Landius. It's an uncommon first ban, but it does make sense. If you run lots and lots of cavalry, lots and lots of flyers, this is a good first ban. So he has the obvious ones. He has Elwyn and Ares, of course. He has Rosalia here. He has Illustrial. His Akka is a Cav Akka, and Toguro is also cavalry movement. He still has Claret here, but this is actually an infantry Claret. Very interesting. We're not going to see infantry Claret in this match, but it would have been interesting. Anyway, the point is that more than half his box is either Cav or flying type movement, or the terrain master movement. So first banning Oldius is a perfectly good choice. So you can tell that Michizak is probably experimenting around here, because his second picker is Angelica. Angelica is definitely an interesting support character at this point. She is Glory, so she can fit pretty well into a first pick Elwyn. She can convert a hero's class, which might aid in tank busting. She has a decent number of heals, and in fact the class changing skill does do a full heal itself. And one thing about Angelica is that she can actually be surprisingly difficult to kill. Not only does she restore her soldier's life every time she ends her turn, she has a pretty nice selection of tanky soldiers. She has stuff like Lava Titans, she has, perhaps most notably, Crystal Warlocks, which means if all you have left is physical attackers, you might end up having to attack Angelica a lot and getting a bunch of reflect damage, while she heals up herself every turn, and that might actually make Angelica win a battle of attrition. So at this point, Angelica is definitely not a meta unit of any kind, but I do think she fits quite well into some boxes, and she's always a very interesting choice. And of course, she still has her faction buff, and she enables characters with her soldier exploding ability. As for the rest of Michizak's team, you can see that he is going full offensive. 3 long-range strikers, you got Yusuke here as a cleanup unit, so definitely crazy offensive power on Michizak's side, which is just the way he likes it. So to meet him, I have brought my cancer strategy, which is to bring 3 tanks. Although unlike usual, I don't have a lot of healers to go around, so my goal here is to sort of form a protective shield around my 2 DPS using my tanks, and basically I have to hope I can kill him before he kills me. So a lot of setup going on here, and now Michizak turns Elwyn into an infantry, so he's ready to blow up Landius. Now remember that Reign of Glory preserves your buffs, so it doesn't matter that he uses it here. However, you'll notice that he actually runs it back, because he made a huge mistake here. And I'm not dogging on the guy, because this is totally a mistake I would have made as well. So basically what happened here was that because Michizak turned Elwyn into an infantry class, Elwyn's now mixed forces. He's an infantry hero with cavalry soldiers. So when he uses Reign of Glory here, he actually can't get the 4-block run anymore. Mixed Forces Elwyn only gets 3 blocks after Reign of Glory, so he was unable to reach my party. And, while playing, it was really obvious that he realized this after he used Reign of Glory. And, that's a real bummer, because this would have been interesting to see. I do think that Elwyn would have easily been able to kill my Landius. His first life, of course. But since he doesn't have that opportunity anymore, I decided to trade my Elwyn for his. Even though this makes me lose my faction buff, I do feel like it's a good trade. I do feel like this is a good trade for me, because Elwyn has 2 lives when he charges in, and that's just a very huge nuisance to deal with. Especially when you have a team like mine that doesn't have a whole lot of damage output. And Elwyn is good at setting up your tanks to get killed by somebody else, even if Elwyn is unable to do it himself, because Elwyn takes away all your buffs. And for a lot of tanks, especially Landius, losing your buffs that way makes you so much frailer. So because Michizak lost his initiative with Elwyn, and he had to consume his Leon's attack skill to kill my Elwyn, he's now backing up, waiting for his cooldowns to come back up, which is not really a bad plan because my units have low movement. As I've said before, my juggler does not have a blood pact, so he can't take things like this use case hit very well, but I'm going to jump in anyway so I can have someone protecting Yulia. And just look at this crazy use case, nearly one-shotting my juggler. Granted, I don't have a faction buff on juggler, but that's still pretty crazy. But juggler being able to take at least 1 hit without dying was all I needed him for here. Now my Yulia is close enough to set up on his team, and it's doubtful that he can recover from this. So overall, a pretty interesting match. It is a shame that Michizak made that one mistake with Elwyn, because I do think that would have been really interesting to see. This is the only time I ran into Michizak this season, so hopefully we can see maybe Angelica making some more gimmick plays in the playoffs or something.